Hello, folks. This story was sent to me by a subscriber and is intended for educational purposes only. I do not glorify substances of any kind. Like, subscribe, and let me know your experiences in the comments. Thank you for watching. 800 DRSD. The bath mat tried to sell me insurance, and I almost said yes. I dropped the tabs around noon, mostly because I didn't trust mornings, and I wanted time to prepare. I had vacuumed the living room, organized my kitchen cabinets, and told my toaster not to talk unless spoken to. I sat on the floor in my favorite hoodie, a cup of ginger tea beside me, and an unreasonable confidence in my mental stability. The tabs were blotter art, printed with little wizards holding flaming calculators. I took that as a sign of chaotic neutrality. The first thing I noticed, about an hour in, was that the walls were no longer committed to being vertical. They sort of pulsed with indecision, leaning in and out like curious introverts at a party. The floor tiles became extremely confident in their identity. Every object in the room acquired a subtle personality. The bookshelf judged me. The houseplant near the window kept whispering, "Are you ready?" in the voice of a retired stage actor. I didn't know what I was supposed to be ready for, but I saluted it anyway. I wandered into the bathroom because I suddenly felt like the faucet might have something to tell me. No more. It didn't. But the bath mat did. It blinked. At first, I thought it was just a wrinkle in the fabric. But then it shifted, rose slightly, and formed a soft humanoid face. "Hello," it said in a voice that sounded like toast and patience. "Have you considered financial protection for your emotional assets?" I blinked. "I don't think that's a real thing." "It is now," the mat said, nodding solemnly. "We have several packages, basic, advanced, and existential. For a small monthly memory, you can protect yourself against unanticipated longing." I almost said yes. The branding was fantastic. But just as I was about to metaphorically sign the contract with a thought, the toilet interrupted by flushing itself in protest. The room shook gently. The mat sighed, flattened back out, and said, "You're not ready, but you will be." I left the bathroom, unsure whether I'd just passed or failed something. The hallway stretched like warm gum. The light fixtures began emitting slow jazz. My footsteps echoed in a foreign language. I peeked into the kitchen and found all my utensils were reenacting famous historical events. The spatula was Napoleon. The fork was doing a terrible British accent. I applauded their commitment and left them to it. Back in the living room, the couch had developed a strong opinion on architecture. It insisted I rearrange the furniture to honor sacred geometry. I complied. Everything now faced a corner. The corner seemed pleased. I sat down and tried to drink more tea, but the cup refused. "You're not ready for this level of temperature," it said. "Try again when you've resolved your issues with permanence." I nodded respectfully. Then came the parade. It began with ants, not real ones, emotional ants. And each carried a tiny banner with a phrase like, "Feel it to heal it," and "You left the oven on in 2007. They marched across the coffee table in total silence, followed by a jellyfish, wearing a crown and a cape made of expired coupons. "I am the king of forgotten errands," he announced. Bob, only if you mean it. I bowed. I absolutely meant it. Suddenly, the ceiling peeled back, and a giant face appeared. My face. But with better skin and no sense of irony. Remember, when you used to dance without checking if someone was watching? It said. Parallelly, I replied. You should try that again. Okay. The ceiling reassembled itself, blushing slightly. At some point I became a table lamp. I actually believed I was a lamp. I understood wattage. I felt the desire to illuminate. A cat I don't own jumped onto my shade and purred. I knew peace. Then I transitioned into being a doorknob and got deeply uncomfortable. I could hear everyone's hesitation before they touched me. I felt every missed opportunity. Every almost. It was overwhelming. Thankfully, the transformation passed, and I became human again, or something close. I checked the clock. It was doing math. I gave up on time and crawled to the window. Outside, the sky was breathing. Clouds were making rude gestures. The tree across the street winked at me, and I blushed. I lay on the floor, half under the coffee table, and listened to the radiator confess its secrets. It once loved to refrigerate. Things got cold. They drifted apart. I held space for its pain. Then the bath mat reappeared. Somehow in the living room now, and whispered, "We never really go away. We just relocate." I asked if I could still sign up for the existential package. The bath mat paused. "You already did," it said, and vanished like a thought you're not ready to remember. As the trip gently softened, I found myself wrapped in 3 blankets and drinking the tea, which had apparently forgiven me. The plant winked. The jazz faded. The utensils were asleep. Everything pulsed with meaning and acceptance. I had no answers, but I had excellent coverage